Welcome, everyone, to episode 93 of the RDH Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Chad. Joined alongside me is my brother Tanner. How's it hanging on this Friday? What a day. You know what I mean? What a day.
What
What
a
do you got going
day.
on today, dude?
What a day indeed. You know what I got going on today? Like stupid hot. I come in here to talk about the weather, but it's hot, man. It's real hot. We live in Texas.
And not to mention, the recording of this episode is at the hottest time of the day in Texas after 5. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, and so I got a fan going directly beneath my feet, right? And it's one of those big box fans. You can't miss them. And it's just,
How'd you fit that under your desk?
well, I mean, I'm not like, I don't know, 2 inches tall. I can fit a box fan under my desk, pretty easily. But it's
You said
not
a big
not
box fan,
not like you,
and now you're
super big.
backtracking.
No,
You know, when you say something like this, I wonder how you fit this under a little desk.
it's not little. Let's I got a big desk. I'm a big guy. I need a big desk. So I got a big box fan that fits under a big desk. I feel like that's pretty
Do you
understandable.
think? I got a question for you. Do you think tall people, like I know they're considered big, but like us tall, skinny folks that are like legit like rails, we don't take up 2 seats on the plane. We may hit our head on the AC thing on the top, but
Oh yeah.
like tall
Obvious.
people, big people,
I
they
don't
all
know.
are.
I
But
don't
kind
think.
of.
I mean, you could probably consider them. Do they shop at big and tall? You know what I mean? I think it's probably in the same category, right? It's the same kind of clothing, so maybe it's the same kind of person. At least that's my explanation. So
The argument gets trumped off of the big and tall store. All right. Well, anyway, folks, we're gonna jump into some football this week. That's one way to start the
The
episode off.
fan fell.
The fan fell. Oh, not already. If it makes you feel any better, the wire on my microphone fell.
You
All
probably
right, all right. If you're a Cincinnati Bengals fan, sucks to be you.
did.
Our your friend Alex, he's been to a Cowboy game with us before. Sorry, man, 2 games. Sorry, yeah, one of them I wasn't really there. We went hard that time.
That was a
Like,
little one.
like, at what point does it become the term injury riddled for Joe Burrow?
I don't know, because how much do you blame it on his O line? Right? That's the first question.
Um,
All of it?
I can neither confirm nor deny
All of it?
that was completely their fault.
Um, I saw a stat out there that was saying he's already been sacked more times than Andrew Luck in less games. And Andrew Luck, obviously, if you're not a football fanatic, he kind of retired because of a lot of the injuries, because of a lot of the physicality
Well,
and the sacks and stuff like that. You just
and
you can't play.
and how good of a reenactor he was with
Of
the
course.
Civil War, all that kind of
Sorry,
stuff.
yes. His history.
What is that? What is that stuff called?
It's like Dear something Mother, or I don't remember. It's like Commander Luck or something like that. Lieutenant Luck. Or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's like I know what you're talking about though. It's so funny. I mean, dude should be like a Civil War reenactment. It's his job.
He was.
Like that should just be his job.
He was like all the time. It was hilarious, man. But anyway, what do you got to think about Burrow and the Bengals?
It's just not sustainable. And I mean, obviously we're watching it, right? And they have a killer offense. We know what they can do. We know what like the points that they can put up. We've seen it last year when Joe Burrow was, not all the way healthy, right? But he at least played a season, at least finished the season, right? So it's just one of those things where you got to protect your quarterback, and they've been trying to do it for the last 5 years, it seems like, in the draft, through free agency, whatever. They've gone out and they've gotten big guys and good signings, but you need to protect your quarterback, and maybe they need to focus more on it. Maybe they needed to focus more on it than signing their 2 superstar wide receivers. Maybe sign Jamar Chase and then let T. Higgins go. Maybe go get a really good offensive lineman, but they're paying the price now. I don't know. I think Jake Browning's going to be able to hold down the helm. He's going to be able to, the ship's going to move. It's going to be able to go. But the question is, at what capacity and like at what efficiency is it going to be able to go without a Joe Burrow in the offense? I think they're still going to be a good team because, Browning has experience in the system. He played a lot 2 years ago, if you remember, and he played decent. But you got to protect your quarterback. I mean, that's the most important position in the game. And with a guy like Joe Burrow out, it really, really just puts a bad feeling, a bad vibe, I think, on the locker room, on the season just as a whole. And him being out 3 months is kind of like, it's not quite season ending, but it's basically season ending if you don't have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's your quarterback and that's your best. I mean, it's not even close. Like, it's Joe Burrow. You know what I mean?
He's the
Like,
guy.
yeah, I mean, and he's in that conversation, right? He's in that conversation for top 5 guys. I'm not necessarily going to put him top 3. You could argue that he's top 3.
Any given year, he could be top 3.
He could. That's 100%. That's a great way to put it. But yeah, I mean, we're going to see what's going to happen with that franchise. It just sucks because every franchise is dependent upon their quarterback pretty much, aside from the Eagles and Saquon. But every franchise pretty much is dependent on that quarterback, and when he goes down, unfortunately, that's pretty much going to be your season. And like you said, if you invest more in your offensive line, then maybe this doesn't happen, obviously. But when you look at the Bengals draft and you look at them specifically, how much defensive linemen they took in the first round, and the whole conversation that they had, with Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M, they almost didn't even sign him. They almost didn't bring back Hendrickson as well. They have I think 75% plus of their cap tied up between him, Burrow, T, and Jamar, which you got to pay those guys. But at the same time, you should probably throw in an offensive lineman there too.
Can they afford it?
And yeah. Well, here's the thing: is like the Bengals are a team that's gonna win on guys like, obviously not to the caliber of like a Jason Peters, but a guy that's like pushing 40s, if not 40. I think Jason Peters is actually in his 40s, late 30s, like grinder, been around veteran for a long time, but he's going to be sustainable. He's going to give up a couple, but he's not going to give up that much, and you're going to drop like $3-4 million to get him in the offseason. But again, that wasn't their priority. They were focused on signing the wideouts, which I get. What do you think about? I mean, the Packers, like transition to the Packers. What do you think about the Packers still being that team? I mean, Jordan Love absolutely looks incredible. Micah Parsons, that defense looks sick. They got a resurgence there. They look even better stopping the run without Kenny Clark, by the way. The Packers look good. And for me, honestly, I'm not going to put them number 1 because the Eagles haven't lost yet, but Jalen Hurts has only thrown like 2 balls downfield.
Yeah.
But it's hard. The Packers, they look like they could compete for an NFC championship this year if they keep going the way that they're going. Is that what do you think about that statement? Is it stupid? It's not stupid. It's only been 2 games.
I don't think it's stupid because you look at that Washington game and you look at what type of effect that Micah Parsons has, and we know it was coming, right? What he did over in Dallas. So he has just the effect to, seemingly get other guys open, right? They get other guys opportunities. And I think Kirk was saying it on the Thursday night broadcast whenever they were playing Washington. He was saying, it was Kirk or Al, it's one of them two, had to be, but he was basically saying, they're getting all these guys, opportunities that didn't previously have those types of opportunities. You see Rashawn Gary going over there, and he's starting to absolutely hit. Not that he didn't before, but he's looking pretty solid now. And you got these younger guys too that they've drafted, an interior defensive line that are starting to get some one-on-one matchups, and they're breaking through, they're making they're playing well because Micah Parsons just draws that much attention, pretty much a double team every single time, right? I mean, we saw him against Penei Sewell, and he really, really did a good job against Penei Sewell in the opener as well with limited snaps, and he's just got fire, he's got tenacity, and he wants to be out there and he wants to make plays. That's what Micah Parsons does, and I think that's just an all-around good thing for a defense that needs a lot of defensive line help, and its secondary has gotten a lot better over the past few years. So I do think that they're a top 1 to 2 defense in the NFL, at least through week 2. But it's going to be tough to see because they have a lot of road games upcoming. But if they take over, it's hard, I feel like, to gain the momentum back from the Packers whenever the defense is roaring.
Well, especially they've got I think Cleveland coming up, and then Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, and those are 2 dubs. Like Mike is going to go crazy on Dallas. We've already talked that we think he's going to get at least 3. We're going to hit that game in a couple weeks whenever it's up. But another team in the NFC that bounced back, they got absolutely mauled the first week by the Packers, actually. The Lions came out and dropped a 50 burger. My man Amon Ra was like, hey, fantasy projection, I got you. Then Jared Goff was like, hold on, let me get you a 50 piece real quick.
Yeah.
What? It's the Goff-fence just goes out there and rips a 50 burger.
It's back. The Goff-fence is back. I don't know at what capacity it's back, but it good feelings around for Detroit fans. But at the same time, they're playing Chicago, not a very good team. We saw Caleb again go down and get a touchdown, I think, very early in that game, and then kind of just fell off afterwards. So maybe it would have been more competitive if Caleb had actually been able to complete drives, but it's one of those things that didn't happen, and the Bears' offense sucks, and the defense suffers because of it. And I think that's really just it. Like, their defense isn't that bad. It really isn't. They had a lot of key guys out in that game, some defensive backs, but if your defense is on the field, 75% of the time, it's going to be really hard to win a football game. So I think it's kind of a little bit of both on the offense and the defense. I think that the defense is just suffering because the offense can't move the football at all. So, and obviously division opponent, stuff like that. I think the Lions just took advantage of it, man. I think that they're a good football team even without Ben Johnson, and they're still pretty good. They're still a lot better than some of the worst teams in the NFL, clearly.
And, another team in the AFC we got to jump to next is going to be the Chiefs, right? We're kind of going quick here in the first part because, it's Friday. And you guys have already known about week 2, but we know you're tuning in to listen to a little bit of the takes before the weekend comes up. But the Chiefs are 0-2. We have to talk about it. You know what I mean? We talked about them every week last year because they won. Now, given
they'll be 1-2 after this week, but
yeah, they're about to win this week. But you play the Chargers in Brazil, and okay, that's a toss-up for anybody. You know what I mean? No matter what team you are. The Chargers are a team that can beat like any team. They can either be really good or really bad, but the Chargers always play really well against the Chiefs, especially if it's going to be an in-division matchup.
Yeah.
So that one's not that bad to me. And then you have the Eagles, and the Chiefs have nobody on offense. Like, it is pretty apparent that those wide receivers have fallen off of a cliff, and that's what happens when you have your number one wide receiver suspended, and then Xavier Worthy gets injured within the first quarter of that second game, or that first game, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
You can only do so much with Isaiah Pacheco, and Mahomes is making throws that are absolutely insane, and Kelsey it's interesting with Kelsey. You know what I mean? You just see the kind of what's been happening this year, and it's like, oh, okay. In past years, it's like, we'll just give it to Kelsey. You'll be fine. But now it's not like that, So it's like there's a lot of different things going on with the Chiefs. I'm going to ask you, but I'm going to answer it before I ask you. In terms of like panic mode, are you that panicked about the Chiefs? Me, I'm not necessarily that panicked about the Chiefs, because for me, I look at the Chiefs like I look at, kind of similarly like the Florida Panthers of hockey. Like, they don't care. As long as they make the playoffs, they're good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as well. It's not every single year. I don't know how many times the Chiefs have won their division in the past 10 years, but it's probably a lot since Patrick Mahomes.
With Mahomes, like every year.
Since Mahomes has been the starter, I think it's most, if not, I don't know, again, but like.
I will look it up. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's a very impressive stat, and I think that, some years you're just going to have off years, and I think that's where the Chiefs are. We kind of saw it last year in their decline, but they were still winning football games due to, the internet's quoted black magic, right? But we look at this squad, and there just doesn't look like the offense just can't really move. The defense is kind of getting beat a lot. Now, granted, they played two very good teams the first 2 weeks.
An answer for the Kansas City Chiefs have won 8 AFC Division West titles since Patrick Mahomes became the quarterback. Get ready for this. In 2018. Yes, and lost.
There you go. So I think it's too early to tell. Chargers are 2-0. Chiefs are 0-2, but it'll be interesting to see if them fighting from not home field advantage, etc. In through the playoffs. So I think Pat can still do it. I think Pat is still amazing, and he's still a fantastic quarterback. But this team needs to get on. I mean, we saw a lot of disconnect between him and Kelsey too last week as well. A touchdown that should have been right just kind of fell right.
That was a draw.
And it was like
in crunch time.
It's like, what? You don't see that.
Should have had that.
Mahomes and Kelsey, like, what's going on? And that touchdown, you get that touchdown, completely changes the game, completely changes the entire course through the end of that game. Probably Philly's play calling as well. So big stuff over there in Kansas City. I think they'll be just fine. Obviously, they got a bounce back game on Sunday night against the Giants, and their defense looked pretty vulnerable last week against the Cowboys. So we'll see what Mahomes goes out there and does. But I think they'll be okay. It's the big thing is the big thing is 0-2 is not as big as 0-3, right? Obviously, duh. But 0-3 is when I think that's when you start throwing the flags up, start turn the sirens
I think
on.
it's Owen. I think it's the historic one is if you're 0-4, and like one of the only teams to make the playoffs after that was actually when the Bengals rattled off with Burrow, and I think they went to the Super Bowl that year because they started out 0-4 and they just kept rattling it off. But you're right. You go to 0-2, it's like, okay, we can get this back. You go to 0-3 and you're like, okay. Then you get to 0-4 and you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Then you're
it's like
running.
a little under a quarter of a season, like think about like 4 games is basically a quarter, right? We can just count the extra one as just like extra nonsense. But that's a big portion of your season. A very big portion. I mean, and you have to basically succeed in 2 out of the next 3 if you want to make the playoffs minimum.
That's fair. And essentially 2 of us are not panicking about the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, if they go out there and lay an egg in Russ and the Giants just,
if they don't win, then it's time to panic.
Yeah, time to panic a little bit. Well, we obviously aren't going to predict the Thursday game because it already happened.
I'll pick Buffalo.
We're recording. Do it.
I picked Buffalo. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Everybody picked Buffalo, but the unfortunate part is that if you picked Buffalo by the money line, you didn't win because it's a 10-point game. The money line I think was 11.5.
I think it was 11 or 12. And the over under was like 50.5 or something like that. And what was the last night's score? It was 20. Wasn't it 20? Was it 35? No, it was 28-21, right? Was that final score? But
no, Buffalo won by. I know Buffalo won by 10.
Okay, so then it must have been 31-21, probably something like that. But kind of not that surprising. But
yeah, 31-21. Because what they
hit the over, but not the. It's crazy.
The 11.5. That's a bummer.
That's quite a spread. I'm not gonna lie. I get it because Miami's not that great, but that's kind of a cruel spread. But
That's why Vegas wins all the time, right? But anyway, about the game, we obviously would have picked Buffalo.
Yeah.
And we're going to say it was a little dicey there for the first 3 quarters.
It wasn't just like you saw Buffalo. They were able to move the ball. It looked like they were playing well. James Cook was getting a lot of open opportunities, but they just kind of stalled in the middle of that game.
Well, I think they went to, at one point, they went to 3 straight 3-and-outs. Mm-hmm. And then Miami did what every team needs to do when you play an elite team. And that's hold the ball as long as you freaking can. Yeah, you have to possess the ball way longer than them, if not more than them. You know what I mean? And that's guys like Mahomes. That's guys like Allen. And you saw what happened with Josh Allen on the first drive that Buffalo had. Or no, was it the second drive the first drive was the Kincaid touchdown. They were down the field in like 38 seconds. It was like 3 passes touchdown. I was like, okay, Josh has half of projected points now in fantasy. That works. But my thing with Buffalo and with Miami is we could talk for days about what the heck is going on in Miami right now. Like there's some weird stuff going on in Miami right now. Like that last week press conference with Mike McDaniel was the weirdest press conference I've ever seen in my life. And then Tua literally just being like, yeah, no, I can't do half the things that Josh Allen does. Like, I'm with you.
But don't say
I don't know if I'd say that.
Don't say that. Is that a lack of confidence, do you think? Is that just a lack of confidence in the system, the coach, or just yourself as a player?
I think honestly, I think it's neither. I think what it is I think that they understand what they have. And I think that it's like one of those things where it's like, look, we're 0-2. We're going up against one of the best teams, if not the best team in the AFC right now.
They played really well.
We're just not there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you're physically just not there. But when you look at it on paper, like the Dolphins are nasty on paper. That team is nasty on paper. But there's just a lot of extracurricular going on right now that's just not really moving and grooving. I mean, if you think about it too, with the Dolphins specifically, Mike McDaniel's been in the playoffs once, maybe twice. Like, not a lot.
They didn't make it. Did they make it last year? Am I crazy? I think they did. They.
When they made it last year?
When was the game? It was them and KC. That's the last time they made it in that really, really cold game, and the Dolphins just didn't look very good at all. I think that's the last time they made the playoffs. I don't remember what that was. That was either last year or the year before.
So and it's that's a game that you won by 10 and you struggled a lot and you still won by 10. So Buffalo, still a wagon. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
one of the best teams in the AFC right now, and it's like Buffalo's on a mission this year. Let's see if they can.
They've
Let's see
got.
how they keep going.
I think they go
But
like.
Josh looks incredible.
I think they go. I want to say that their next 4 games are just like it's like Atlanta, Carolina, like New Orleans, and then someone else that's like not very good. Probably New England. That would make sense. So it's something like that. So I expect them to easily be the number 1 seed through like week 7, week 6, week 7, as long as they don't like throw up a stinker. Their schedule's really easy through the first part of the year, so they're looking pretty good so far, and I think they're just going to continue. I mean, you just hand the ball off, or you just give it to one of your superstar MVP quarterback. They were saying a stat the other night that was saying like Josh has commanded the best offense in the league since 2020, and it's like that's crazy. Like that's insane.
You see his touchdowns?
Dude, it's stupid. Like, it's stupid.
His tugs are unreal. How many touchdowns he has since entering the league is like when they threw up that stat, I'm like
200, right?
okay.
He has 200 touchdowns since
Yeah.
entering. I think that's what it was. He just got his 200 like last night, so it's like wow, that's impressive stuff. I don't really know how to compare it to other players, but
I want to say he was the fastest player to reach that, if not the fastest. I might have seen a stat about something with Mahomes, but it's like those are like I mean
Mahomes got like 50 touchdowns his second season, so that would make sense. But I mean,
that was unreal.
Josh
that
is right there
so
too.
Good.
So big stuff. A lot of good stuff from Buffalo. I think they'll just continue to ride, and I'm very scared about the Dolphins' future. Maybe Tyreek Hill gets traded. Maybe Mike McDaniel gets fired. A lot of stuff is probably going to change in Miami over the next few weeks, I imagine.
100% completely agree with that. I do not know if he finishes this season as the head coach. I'd be pretty shocked.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I'd be pretty shocked. I also wouldn't be shocked if Tyreek Hill makes his way back to Kansas City.
That would be crazy. That would be insane.
If anybody would do it, it's KC. Because the thing about Tyreek, as you know, is the off the field stuff. Exactly. It's not about on the field. It's the off the field stuff. And how many teams would actually deal with that? I don't know how many teams would. I think there's definitely a list out there. I don't know how long or short it is, in terms of Tyreek and everything. But for me, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm like, look, if you want the biggest burner in the league, let's just go get him again. You know what I mean? We had him, but
all that stuff in Miami, one of the the most one of the better cities to do that kind of stuff, and just off the field stuff. You get very.
That's why they're making a new Grand Theft Auto out of it.
Yeah, involved. It's a very involved city. We'll put it like that. So maybe getting him out to Kansas City would be good for him. I'm not sure, but he's a grown ass adult. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
And he can go where pretty much he wants.
Yeah, sure.
Next game on the slate this weekend, we got a pretty good one. The noon slate, we got the Rams versus the Eagles. I think that's a pretty good one. I am gonna go Eagles here, but the Rams look pretty good, and they're 2-0. And also, what's going on with Patty Pafford?
He looks good. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
It's really good.
That's what I'm saying. And so for me, it's like, okay, this guy gets hurt in the preseason and is just fine, just slinging the thing down the field of Puka Nacua. I mean, they look good. They look really good. Like one of the top teams in the NFC good. So I think it's going to be a very, very good showing this week when you have 2 top NFC teams going after each other.
I'm going to go crazy. I think I'm going to go LA here. I think throw a little curveball because, Philly, obviously, we'll see on the passing touchdown side of things. A.J. Brown fantasy owner here. Very mad. Very, very, very mad. But
hold on. We have to talk about the Jalen Hurts thing. We have to talk about it. Why, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, time behind the line. Why is he not throwing the ball?
It's not a lack of targets. It's not a lack of time. It's just I just don't know what the heck Jalen's doing. Like you see, it's like these little routes, like these small breaking routes that kind of break to the outside. I feel like he's gotten a lot of just really simple, easy completions kind of over in the small, short area in the middle of the field and kind of in the outer bounds or like in the outer side of the field. But you really don't see him stretch the field that much. You saw him try to do it, right? We saw Jahan Dotson, that big completion in the first game of the season. And in the second game, there really wasn't a whole lot, but it's not like from a lack of trying. I mean, they targeted A.J. Brown down the field and they just couldn't really get it done. Same with Devontae, I feel. So I don't know. Some of the balls weren't well thrown. Some of the balls were well thrown, just not caught. Maybe it's just a lack of, I don't know. Maybe it's a scheme thing. Maybe it's just hard to do it now that. But I don't know where that whole area of his game went. To be honest with you, I feel like he was doing it in the Super Bowl pretty easily, pretty throughout the playoffs last year. It just feels like there's kind of a disconnect there right now, and I'm not really sure what they're going to do about it. Maybe AJ Brown is washed. I don't think he is, but it's just, he's getting targets. They're getting targets. The receivers are playing well. I mean, they're studs. It's hard to keep them, not open, right? So I don't know. It's confusing, but they're winning games, which is the important part. But it's not pretty. It's like the Chiefs last year, right? They're winning games, but you're like, they could have lost that at any point in that game last week, So if, like I said, same thing. If Mahomes goes down and gets that touchdown with Kelsey, that's a completely different game. Maybe we're talking about the Chiefs being back and the Eagles not, So I like the Rams. I think they're just getting better every week. Their defense is pretty nasty. It's young, and Philly's gonna have they just haven't looked dominant on offense. Saquon's looked the best, probably he could to start this season, but everything else about it, not the tush push, but everything else about it looks pretty good. And heck, even the tush push has gotten some no calls on the penalties, which a lot of people are mad about. But that's neither here nor there. We'll see. But it's hard. I like the Rams. I think, are the Rams playing at home?
I'm not sure. You ask me this every week. You know what I mean?
Because
you think
well,
you think I'd figure it out by now, but I'm like, I don't know, man. I put it in the docs.
It's down there. I can see it. I don't know why I asked, but it takes a while to come. I mean, I'm watching it right now. It's quite slow. It is quite slow. But
well, regardless,
they're at
while
Philly.
you're watching that one,
they're at Philly, so that one's going to be a little bit more of a tough match. But again, okay. I mean, they were at Philly last year in the playoffs, and they almost beat them. So if it wasn't snowing, I think Philly would have lost. Or snowing, if it weren't inclement weather or whatever we say. So
the crazy weather there. Well, a team that's just been kind of up and down and crazy the past couple of years, in a crazy comment by the head coach, by the way, in his press conference, Ben Johnson. The Bears versus the Cowboys at the 325 slate. That's going to be a good one. I obviously am going to go Dallas on this one, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Bears get going on offense because the New York Giants and Russell Wilson pretty much put up over 500 yards on the Dallas Cowboys.
I give them 3 touchdowns. I give Chicago 3 touchdowns. I think 21 points.
21 points. That's what
they're peak in this game. Unfortunately, I just don't know. I just don't know how long Caleb is going to play well for. Like, that's kind of my thing. DeAndre Swift, he's played well, but we know Dak can play well against a mediocre defense. And this is a mediocre defense at this point in the season. So it's going to be hard, especially when Dallas's offense is starting to hit a little bit. Like, their running game, they're starting to get these long drives, these possession, these drives that just take time off the clock and really just kind of.
Javonte looks good.
Javonte looks really good, and the offensive line is starting to really play some good football. So I just don't see a whole lot where the Bears are going to kind of capitalize. They need to keep the ball out of Dallas's hands, and they need to go down and they need to score these touchdowns on long drives, or at least get into field goal range to make it a competitive game. Because I think Dallas is going to obviously be able to score, and that's pretty much the only thing they've been able to do this entire season. So I think we can at least count on them to do that. And the defense probably won't be as amazing, but this is a lower caliber tier of opponent, and I think Russell Wilson is even a step above. Did that offense last week? Russell Wilson was hitting. I mean, he was on something else. So I think that even what we saw last week was a step above what the Chicago Bears team has shown offensively up to this point. So I think if Dallas gets over 22 points, I think they win the game.
We're both going Dallas on that one then. We already kind of alluded to it, but the Sunday night game, we got the Chiefs and the Giants. I'm taking Chiefs on that one. I'm not sure that the Giants are going to actually produce the offense that they did, especially with the Chiefs being their defense is still pretty damn solid. So we'll see what happens there, but I'm going Chiefs on that one.
What about just entertaining the conversation? What about Jackson Dart? Do you think we see any of him, or are we still waiting a few weeks to see him?
Yeah, you're still waiting. You're still waiting. The fact that they went out and got Russ, and the fact that the dude almost put up 500 yards against a division opponent means he 100% got him a couple more weeks. The only thing I think that
What if he's dog shit?
could get Russ out of the game, like I think that this is a situation like college, straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's a college situation where it's like, oh, he goes out and has a horrendous game. Okay, let's throw in this guy. Okay, let's throw in this guy. Okay,
Yeah,
let's
like at
throw in
the
this
end
guy.
of the
But
game, I feel you.
yeah, and I don't think the Giants are ever going to be in a position where it's like, hey, we're up big, Jackson, go in, dude. You know what I mean? Like that's never going to happen this season with the Giants. So it's going to be like, hey, Russ threw for 87, 3 interceptions, and a fumble. I think it's about time to switch. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or the Giants do what the Giants do and just ride Russ out all year and just sit dart, and then everyone in New York is pissed. But then they get a really good draft pick, and then maybe the Giants start to come back if they have another decent draft, because they're starting to get some pretty good guys. And that offense, I mean, Neighbors he's
amazing.
I mean, these LSU wide receivers, like I know you're Ohio State. I get it. I understand the Ohio State guys that are coming out of there, but LSU has the top like 3 right now.
They just make guys that just turn into absolute number 1 machines. Like,
but they're like Jamar Chase and like Justin Jefferson. Those guys are like generational.
I know. I know. They're probably going to be like, at least in Jamar Chase, he's already the best receiver in that franchise's history. We'll see what Justin does, but he's well on his way. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, Jamar's already...
And who's what was it? TJ Houshmandzadeh?
Sorry, man. I'm gonna go Jamar. I love Ocho, but I got Jam. I think he's easily becoming the number 1 in that franchise. We'll see. It's a little bit harder of a question, all right, in Minnesota, but he's well under.
We got Randy Moss.
Exactly. So we'll see, man. But I mean, Brian Thomas over there from obviously LSU as well. He's not had a good start to the season, but he's very talented.
Don't throw him in there.
I think he's very talented. He's easily the number 1 in that system.
But like let's go to Neighbors next. You know what I mean?
I mean, sure. We already talked about Neighbors. What are you talking
about? Who is the best wide receiver ever for the Giants?
Dude, I don't know. You're probably asking the wrong person. I'm not a Giants historian.
I don't. I mean, I just remember like Victor Cruz. I know they had a disgusting tight end with Jeremy Shockey. You know what I mean? But like, I don't ever remember just a nasty wide receiver. I remember in the early days when the Cowboys used to play the freaking Eagles and they had T.O. I remember that.
Yeah, but like that's not like a franchise receiver. You know what I mean? Like Dallas, like you can see, oh yeah, T.O. is a Dallas Cowboys receiver. Okay, but for like not that long.
Well, T.O. was
he's amazing.
T.O.
He's amazing.
Was the definition of I'm gonna go where the money goes.
Exactly. But I don't think you can consider him like a great of that franchise. You know what I mean? You can if you want to, but I personally don't.
T.O. would probably be great would be the Niners, right? Like you probably have to put T.O. with the Niners, but you're never going to beat Jerry Rice. Like you're never going to beat Jerry Rice with the Niners in terms of really good wide receivers. And then, I mean, we're bouncing around with Dallas here with Michael Irvin, CD, if he continues to do what he does. I mean, but even then,
I'll tell you what, the most receiving yards by a wide receiver out of the Giants.
Is it Victor Cruz?
It's not. Victor Cruz is top. Victor Cruz is 11. The number 1 is Amani Toomer. Amani Toomer, 1996 to 2008. And he had almost 10,000 receiving yards. Odell is number 2, by the way, at 5,400. And then it goes Frank Gifford.
Odell is?
Yeah. Tiki Barber's 4. Joe Morrison 5.
I knew Tiki.
And then your boy Victor Cruz down there at 11. And then, Sterling Shepard, Jeremy Shockey's down here.
Odell at 2.
Yep. Victor Cruz, like I said, 11. And then, Tiki Barber's 4, which is kind of cool. Odell 2. Odell is 2. Like 2 as Odell. Like that's kind of crazy. Odell only had 5,400 receiving yards his entire career. So obviously they haven't had a lot of amazing wide receivers. So yeah, I think he's probably in the best position to go and get that title. I think out of all the LSU receivers, at least we've talked about to this point.
Absolutely. Who do you have on the Lions in the Ravens game? Because I'm going Ravens here.
I'm going Ravens, man. I just don't know. I know I was a big, pusher for the offense last year, but the offense really just let me down in week 1 against the Packers, and I think maybe they're a little bit vulnerable. I think that I said it before the season. I think they have to. They literally have to take a step down from where they were last year. It's hard to sustain that type of offense and defense, the lack of a defense throughout most of that season. But it's hard to sustain that, especially when your division opponent and the Green Bay Packers get a whole lot better, and you lose both your coordinators as a a coaching staff. So it's tough. I get it, but they just didn't look as creative against the Packers that I really wanted than I wanted them to, and of course the Bears. It's kind of a bounce back game for me. So I got Ravens, man. Ravens are at home, and Lamar is usually plays pretty well at home, and I just don't love. It's going to come down to Jared, and he's going to have to sling that rock. And I love Jared. I think he can sling that rock, but that's what happened in week 1, and he really, really kind of struggled in a lot of places. And if they get any type of pass rush on this, I think this game is over pretty quick. But the only way I think they win this game is if Jared goes out there and throws like 350 and 3 touchdowns, and probably they might still lose, because the Ravens offense is just so good, man. I just don't know if the Lions defense is going to be able to stop them.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. On to college football for the episode, and then we'll wrap it up here. A little bit shorter one this week. Classic game against Notre Dame. What a game if you're an Aggie fan. Unbelievable. Finally win one of those games. And then we did the LSU one a couple years ago, but that was good to see. I just got one question. We're not going to go through the whole schedule prediction, but do you see A&M potentially competing for an SEC championship this year? And I understand it's only 3 games. I get you can't really answer that question yet. And when you look at the trajectory of A&M and what has happened over the last seasons, this always happens. They start out hot, and then they crash and burn very hard. But Marcel Reed looks unbelievable. Mm-hmm. This running game looks unbelievable. And this defense has some holes, but looks a little bit better than I would argue with. So for me, this is the best A&M team that I've seen. Now, there's some really good SEC teams this year. Mm-hmm. So, and there always is. So it's going to be hard to compete for an SEC championship. But for me, man, it's exciting to be an Aggie.
It is.
What do you got on these Ags?
I just looked up the schedule real quick because I'm going to say no. Unfortunately, I will say no, but I do think it's because they just got a lot of really good teams, and I do like the defense, but I think it's ranked. Yes, that are ranked, and some that are unranked that are still pretty good teams. And that's probably just Florida, to be honest. But it's one of those things where I don't know defensively if they're going to be able to get the job done all year long, because we saw in those first few opening games, UTSA put up 24 on them, Utah State put up 22, Notre Dame put up 40, and it's like, ooh, those aren't like the best offenses in the league or in the NCAA. Notre Dame is pretty good. Granted, they got Jeremiah.
Take back what I said about the defense. That's my bad. I take back.
I like CJ Carman, but I don't like that. It's not the best offense, and they're gonna play a lot of really good guys. They got LSU coming up. Like I said, they got Florida. They got Arkansas, whose quarterback's been playing well. South Carolina. Obviously they have Texas at the end of the year still. So
in South Carolina,
Missouri, Auburn,
is a finally ranked South Carolina since Jadeveon Clowney was there.
They're not actually
ranked. South Carolina
anymore.
Team that's good.
They're not actually ranked anymore, but they should. I like them. I like Sellers. I like what he's doing over there. I watched him week 1, week 2. I think obviously some stuff happens, but I like the guy. I think that given a defense like that, he's probably going to play pretty well. So it's going to be tough, but. No, I don't think so. I think they'll go probably 2 losses. That's my guess. Probably one to Texas and maybe another one to like LSU or a random other team. But that's kind of, I think, hopeful for the season. And unfortunately, if you lose those 2 games, you probably don't make the playoffs either. But they're 10 right now. It's hard because they're not going to play a lot of teams that are better than them in the future, except like Texas and LSU. So like again, you got to win those 2 games especially Texas. You have to win Texas if you want to. At least make the playoffs, I think, because it's the last game of the season, and you don't want to go down in your last game of the season, especially when people are kind of going up from there. So, I don't know, man. It's going to be hard for A&M. The SEC is absolutely stacked this year, amongst other things, and I was going to say it too, but they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams that are ranked in their conference, and obviously it's a conference of 1, 2, 3, 4, 15 teams. So 11 out of the 15 teams are ranked at some, and that's not including Florida, who was ranked, and Arkansas, who's got a nasty quarterback, and South Carolina. So like the only outlier is Kentucky, unfortunately. So like that's crazy. Yeah, this it's absolutely stacked this season. I think the SEC is easily the best conference in football this year, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Whoever wins this championship, whoever wins this conference is probably going top 4, if not potentially a national championship run.
If everybody doesn't have like 2 losses, you know what I mean? Like it's pretty standard that the SEC is going to have top 4 there. But for me, you kind of nailed it, right? It's like you have 2 games a year that you circle that you have to win, and it's LSU and it's UT. Those are the games you got to have, and those are always a toss up, especially. Yeah. And Arch is going to be real comfortable by this point at the end of the season too. So that's the bad part about playing, a UT at the end of the season. Usually, it's going to destroy either your season or UT's, right? So that's what we got. But hey, we kind of sort of did a schedule prediction for A&M. Tanner said they lost 2 games. I'll go 3 L's. But hey, hopefully
they get better.
They get to an SEC championship.
They're getting better. The thing is, they're getting a lot better. Obviously, Marcel Reed, we saw him against Notre Dame. He was slinging that thing around the field. They've got some badass wide receivers in A&M now as well, and the recruits are just going to keep coming. So I like Elko. I like what he's doing, and I really wish Elko was here for the last, I wish we paid him a massive stack of money and not Jimbo Fisher, because I mean, you see what Haynes King is doing over there? He's beating Clemson. Like, he looked fantastic. It feel like these guys just leave A&M and they just become superstars. Kyler Murray, So it's just
there's a lot of them.
There's a couple of them, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. A&M's, they get good quarterbacks. They just gotta develop them. They gotta keep them going. I like what I've seen from Marcel, so I think he's gonna get just better and better and better and better.
Yeah, I mean, if Marcel continues at this rate, then it's gonna be really hard for him to not be tippy top in terms of statistical stats. Because I mean, Kellen Moore right now is one of the top. God, I always do that. Kellen Mond is like one of the top in terms of statistical quarterbacks for A&M. So it's like,
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but it's what happens in college. It's just like guys that stayed there and got the starting job for that long. That's really it's what it is when you play consistent and you're starting for that long. Like that's what it is. Now, if you had 4 Heisman Trophy Johnny seasons or 4 Tim Tebow Heisman Trophy seasons, then those guys are probably going to be leading the, statistical categories for those colleges. But I mean, hell, nowadays, a topic for next time that we'll bring up that we'll kind of sort of hit on this time is, and then we'll head out of here, is what happens with college football and what happens with these kids staying 4 years? Because right now they're getting paid more than an NFL draft pick is going to be getting paid. Now, in terms of, let me rephrase that. If you're a first-round draft pick in the NFL, then no, you're not going to get more unless you're maybe like Arch Manning, because you don't necessarily know how much he's bringing in, specifically on the NAL side, but every commercial you see is him, and that's how athletes are allowed to do that now.
I mean, you can
so for me, it's just an interesting conversation and a point to bring up. It's like, how many of these kids are actually going to stay 4 years?
You can compare it to Shador and Travis Hunter. I think Shador is a very good comparison just because of the name recognition, and I think he was top 3 in NIL earnings last year, and he was a 5th round quarterback. So continue, but it doesn't really matter where you're drafted. It just matters kind of where you go to school and what your name is.
I think it is where you're drafted, because I think it's like if you're a first round pick, you're probably not going to come back. You know what I mean? But if you're
I agree with you.
Yeah, because it's kind of crazy how much it falls off after the first round. You should go go look that up if you're listening. It's insane the fall off from the first and second round.
I agree with you. If your name is not a very big time name, if you're not a quarterback in a big time school or system, then probably I think that would absolutely, that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it more next time. But hey, that was a good little episode. We did start off with the weather again, so good job. Good to bring that back. But folks, we'll be back next week, talk about more football, and we'll see you then.
I know these last 40 minutes have been so cool. I've been so breezy and so comfortable in this hot Texas heat with my box fan under my desk. So everyone go get a box fan. This is a box fan ad. Box fan, I don't know what brand you are, but come sponsor us. I think it'd be kind of sick. I'll put it right back there, right here. It'd be right here. No, right there.
Yeah, just the whole time. Yeah, the whole time you're doing the pod, all you hear is
RDH Sports sponsored by Box Fan. Okay, go get a buck steak at your local Walmart. See you, everyone.
We'll be seeing you, folks.